Hi guys, this is Ruby again with another pen video, and today we're going to have a look at Kaweco pens, or more specifically Kaweco Sport pens. Now, this is not going to be a full in-depth review of the Kaweco Sport. I have already made videos on the Kaweco Sport, and I have also already made a video where I explain a little bit the difference in between the different Kaweco Sport that are available. So like a Kaweco Sport series overview video, so to speak. This video here specifically looks at three rather new finishes and different materials that Kaweco has recently released. So focus here is a little bit more on the on those kind of things, but I will talk a little bit about the differences in between those materials as well, because it is actually three different materials that we're going to look right here. And I'm also going to talk about the nibs a little bit, because I do have the impression that Kaweco has maybe changed the nib manufacturer, because it seems like it's new or different nibs. The Kaweco Sport pens often come in this nice little vintagey appearing metal box. I don't think it's like really tin, not sure, maybe it's aluminium or something like that. Pens then often rest in here. Kind of cool, neat little thing. Just wanted to show you that. I think it's a little bit up to the retailers how they sell the pen, so don't wonder if you bought a Kaweco Sport and it didn't come in such a box. I think it's not Kaweco's fault then or something like that, but more of the decision of a pen retailer. Hey guys, for those who are new to the Kaweco Sport, just a real quick one. This is a pocket pen, so quick initial size comparison to a Lamy Safari. It's a short pen, but it's a pocket pen. You're supposed to, it unscrews, and then while you can write with the pen like this, and I have larger hands, so to speak. That's what a Lamy Safari looks like in my hand, just so you have a visual reference. While I can take some short notes like this, this pen is supposed to write posted in order to write comfortably. And as you can see here, it then sort of becomes pretty much a full-size fountain pen of the length of a Lamy Safari. And I won't talk now more about that kind of stuff, but just for so you know. So, new finishes. This here is the Kaweco Sport. This is not the Classic Sport, because the Classic Sport has a gold logo thingy here. This one here has a silver, so that tells us that this is from the Skyline series. And this here, and here I want to specifically show you the color, is a new color that they have released called Macchiato. And yes, it does look like latte macchiato or cafe latte with loads of milk. It's a nice, I would say, like it's a beige sort of color. Very, very lovely. I find it's really beautiful. Oops. I just wanted to show you that color here, that finish, the Kaweco finial in here. Kaweco, 3 syllables. That is what macchiato looks like. Next up, we have a Kaweco AL Sport, and that is a pen that has been eagerly anticipated by many people out there in the community. I know that because this is the rose gold finish. Rose gold is very popular, a very popular color. Many people go berserk over rose gold trims and rose gold colored pens and whatever. But yeah, it is like a rosy, shimmering or shining gold. It's very nice. It's really beautiful. And I must say that the Kaweco Classic Sport or Skyline Sport is a plastic pen. It's very, very lightweight. Super cool, of course, to carry it in a pocket. But it's almost too lightweight. The perfect weight for me is the AL Sport. It's aluminium, meaning that it's still sufficiently light, but it's quite a bit heavier than the regular Sport, or as a Classic Sport or Skyline Sport. So adds a little bit more weight. Also does feel a little bit more substantial. Also the fit and finish is a lot better. I can show you that also. Like, that's the cool thing of having different models, because I can show you some model differences. So with these like injection molded plastic right here, I mean, these ridges here are cool. You don't have them on the rose gold one, and you also don't have them on the steel one that I'm going to talk about in a bit. But you see, right, this back here, this looks a lot nicer, looks a little more high quality. You don't have all these like injection molding over residue thingies here. This ridge here that's supposed for posting looks a lot more refined, has like sort of like a phase here on the AL Sport, looks a lot better. Same here on the cap, sort of rounded off faced cap here. It's just flat cut off. Don't know if you really can see that. Then also tolerances here with the plastic. You see that there's definitely some wiggle room. It's not massive, and you have to use a little bit of force to do that, but you can definitely move this around. Then here on the AL, there's no chance that I'm gonna do anything right here, right? I mean, of course, this is metal, so of course, like there's like the threading is of course better and more robust than with the plastic here, but I believe it's also like kind of tighter tolerances. Then it continues here where you have also some kind of a manufacturing ridge that you see that I find looks quite nasty. That doesn't really look cool. That would have been a lot nicer if that would have been polished off, like, you know, evenly, like here. Looks a lot cooler. I mean, rounded off down here as well, but looks a lot more refined on the AL. Up here, they look similar, which I like. But then also like the way how the finial is set onto the pen looks more refined here on the AL Sport. If you ask me, the gap here looks cheaper, or not cheap, but you know, it doesn't look as refined. The tolerances aren't as tight. The gap is a little bit wider. Just looks better on this fantastic looking rose gold AL Sport. And then last but not least, we have and this is like an entirely new model. I mean, like the AL Sport was there before. It's just the rose gold finish that's new. The Skyline Sport has been there before. It's just a macchiato color or finish that is new. This one here, the Steel Sport, looks super cool. I mean, look at that steel thing at this polishing. Like, it looks like really nice, cool, industrially. That's really, really cool. So the Steel Sport is an entirely new material. They have never used steel before. There was a AL raw aluminum that sort of looked a little bit like this, but this here is steel, making it a very heavy pen. I looked up the weight of the pen, and from what I've seen, it's pretty much the weight of a Brass. The Brass Sport. Brass was out before, so maybe pretty popular finish in the Kaweco Sports, the Kaweco Brass Sport, so you may be familiar with that weight. The steel here weighs pretty much the same, and I just love how this finish looks. It looks really, really cool. This here looks really cool, super quality, super crisp lines, cut really, really sharp. This is really great quality. Great finishing quality on here, and you see what I meant with the finial here before. Also sort of like the tightest tolerances on that one here. I find the tolerances, the ridge seems even smaller, or the gap, than here on the AL Sport, and then the widest here on the Skyline Sport. So seems to be the quietest manufacturing tolerances right here. I can't imagine that for technical reasons you can't have the same tight tolerances on a metal like aluminum, but then again, I'm not a material scientist, but it's just something that I have noticed, friends. And then another good news is the nibs. I mean, we all know, it's not a secret that Kaweco had some quality issues with their nibs, and I believe the old nibs were maybe made by Bock. If you follow some forum entries, and very often they had baby's bottoms and like all kinds of issues. Kaweco pens at some point were said to be basically hit or miss. Either it writes or it doesn't. These here, all three, wrote fantastically straight out of the box, which leads me to the belief that they may have changed nib manufacturers. I unfortunately don't have an old Kaweco nib here, but I also believe that when you carefully observe the nib, that it's slightly different than the old nibs look like. I believe that like the stamping of the nib has a different depth, and I believe that the stamping on the old nibs was a little bit deeper. It's a little bit more shallow here, and I also believe that the old nibs were a little bit more matte. These here are a little bit more shiny. That's number 2. Number 3 is the old nibs were mostly running on the wider side of their designation. These nibs here all run off the narrower side of their designation. So this medium here actually writes pretty much like a fine. This is what the feet looks like. Also kind of cool, right? With the Kaweco 3-syllable. I don't really see that right now. Yes, now you see it, but it's stands on the head. Huh? So as said, I believe that they have changed the nib manufacturer, which is then good because these pens all write kind of nice. Another thing that I wanted to show you, just because I've noticed it, when you post those pens, the different materials do not seem to post equally deep. And this is most noticeable on the Steel Sport. You see it here already. So the AL Sport seems to post a tad deeper because the pen, when posted, the nib right here, you see it's a little bit shorter. The Skyline is a little longer, and it becomes most obvious when you post, and now I'm not like really like pushing them in, I just post them, right? Without any purpose behind it. And if you post the Steel Sport, that is actually quite substantially, and you also see the alignment of the capstan here. This is quite substantially shorter. I mean, like it's not that now you can't write with a pen anymore or something like that. It's not that much. It's maybe like, I don't know, half a centimeter or something like that. So all good in that end, but it's just something that I have noticed and that I wanted to show you. Let's talk about the prices in the end. The least expensive, as you probably would assume, is the regular Sport or Skyline Sport. Here goes for around 20 euros. Then you go up 3 times the price for the aluminium. That is like 60 euro, and I do believe that it's really worth the price difference because, like, as I've now mentioned here in this overview, this is really a lot better manufacturing quality. And then we have another step up, 30 euro step up, going all the way up to 90 euro for the Steel Sport. Is that worth the price? I don't know, up to you to decide. I believe for 10 euro less you get a Brass Sport, so you can say the Brass and the Steel Sport roughly the same price. Very heavy pen. I believe that pen would, you know, I mean, probably built to last a lifetime. Super substantial pen, but quite a heavy writing implement. For my personal taste, I find the Brass Sport also a little bit heavy. It's probably a bit heavy for me, but I've already pointed it out before. I find the AL Sport to be the sweet spot for me. One last thing, it's not metal on metal posting, which is kind of nice, or not kind of nice, it's really nice, because you have a plastic protective ring in there, so you actually post on plastic, so you don't have to worry about scratching the surface. However, it's like rough industrial finish, like has a nice brushing texture, so wouldn't matter maybe too much. One last thing I noticed is that I found the threading to be a bit on the sharper side here on that Steel Sport. That's smoother here on the AL Sport, and you can see that it's sharper cutting, quite likely a material property, I assume. Guys, I hope this overview of these 3 new finishes, materials were helpful to you. I hope this was like a useful overview. It's a classic pen, probably the best pocket fountain pen out there, if you ask me. It takes standard international cartridges, which you can basically buy anywhere when you're out and about, which is kind of cool. I hope this overview video was helpful to you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.